Plaintiff Melissa Wolf and her husband Douglas Barnes say they placed an ad looking for a roommate, and the defendant answered and moved in with them. Melissa claims a couple of days after the defendant moved in, they suspected that he was using drugs, and they're suing him today for unpaid utilities and rent. Defendant Daniel Pennington says after he moved in with the plaintiffs, Melissa told him he was fascinating and said she thought she could learn a lot from him. Daniel insists he paid all of his rent, and he's countersuing for defamation because he claims Melissa made false claims about him to his ex.
Start with you all.
Hi, Your Honor. I just want to start by saying I heart you. You're so cute.
Oh, finally. Everybody usually say that about Doyle, all the ladies. He's so cute.
No.
Doyle,
All about you.
Doyle.
No way.
Thank you.
Your Honor, we met Dan in May. My husband and I were having some problems making ends meet, so we decided to take on a roommate. We put an ad in Craigslist, and he was the first one that answered it. So he came over with his little 4-year-old daughter, and she was precious. So we said yes to him. He had quite a sob story. Things weren't going very well for him. I did, tell him it would be half of the rent and, half the electric bill.
How much was that, the rent? $325?
Yes, sir.
And the electric bill obviously varied?
Yes, sir. But I'm a recovering alcoholic. I've been sober for 2 years.
Good, congratulations.
Thank you. I told him that he can drink in the house, that's fine. I don't have any problem with that. I do have a problem with any illegal drugs. My husband's in the military, so he definitely can't have that in the house, and I just don't like it. So he agreed that that wouldn't happen. Within him living there a couple of days, there was cars pulling up out front. I would say that this old Caprice pulled up, like the rims were worth more than the car. And he's doing little, going out to the window, and they're doing the homie handshake type thing where they're exchanging something. And I expressed to my husband, I had concern about this, and talked to Dan about it, and he said that he just owed this guy money or whatever. And I'm like, you've been, taking out loans in the hood? What have you been doing? Anyways, I thought it was a drug deal. That's what I thought, that's my personal opinion, and I told him that. So, things like that were happening. Then CPS was called on him, and they came out to our house and had to search our house and had to they just investigated it, and they searched his room, the kitchen, the bathroom, just made sure that everything was okay.
Who called them?
His ex-wife, from what I've heard.
All right.
I didn't call them.
Did they find anything?
Apparently, from what Dan has told me, is that he tested positive on a swab test that they did on our front porch. And
positive?
For cocaine.
Let me get some background from him before we get to the unpaid bills and rent you're suing him for. Sir?
Certainly.
She had emailed me, I believe, from an ad on Craigslist that I had put that I was going to be getting divorced. And because of financial reasons, I gave my ex all of the money so that I would get extra visitation with my daughter. Being with my daughter was the most important thing because I had been the primary caregiver for 4 years. She emailed me from Craigslist that she had an apartment and that they had an extra room. They had several spats, and he had lived in that room on and off, and she had broken in the window and climbed in when he locked the door, etc., and had told me that that room was now, they're back together, and sleeping in the same place, their common law, and that I could have that room for $325 rent plus half the electricity and half the cable. The first night I was there was no talk of drugs, there was no talk of anything till I'd been there about 2 months. There was no search by CPS. That wasn't a search. They came over and she peeked in the room and said, "That looks very good."
Did you test positive for cocaine?
Peeked in the living room. They told me I test positive, and they never provided the paperwork on that.
Let me ask
you
this. She suspects that you were buying drugs from criminals.
She made several implications. Can I explain?
Go ahead.
When we the first night I was there, Doug was gone, and I had given her $200, and she wanted to go get a tattoo at 10 o'clock at night, and she wanted me to escort her. I told her she needed to okay it with him before I did it. She said she text messaged him, couldn't reach him. It was 5:30 in the morning before she brought me home. In that length of time, she told me she was not attracted to me, but that she was...
Excuse me. Go ahead.
She had said that she found me fascinating and that she wanted to hear some of my life stories, that I probably could teach her a lot and tell her about things that I had done. And I wasn't really interested. I had just gotten divorced. I had been crying over my ex, over not being with my daughter
What did you
anymore.
say when she told you she thought you were fascinating? You told her you hear that all the time? Or?
No, I don't, because I was married for years and I was very faithful. So I
No,
didn't hear that.
Women can still tell you they hit on you and tell you you're fascinating.
Well, I had 4 shoulder surgeries, so I had been at
You
home
didn't
as
think
the
you were
primary
fascinating.
caregiver.
Okay.
So, what?
You didn't think you were fascinating yourself.
Not in the last 5 years, no.
Okay,
I had been
just-
Mr. Mom for 5 years.
Go ahead.
Anyway, I had scorned any advances that she had made. Well, after about 3 or 4 days, she was gone, and I had her husband take me to what she called the ghetto. Well, I didn't know anything. I didn't know there was anything about this. I had rented a place in a low-income place, put a third down of the deposit. He took me to go get that deposit back because I had rented his place. So anyway, when I got back the next day, she came in yelling at me, "You don't have my husband drive you to the ghetto. My husband does not drive to the black side of town. I live on the west side of town. I live in the good side, so you're having my husband take you to the hood."
Your Honor,
was very upset.
Can I butt in for a second, Your Honor? My wife would not say something like that, but let me speak on...
My roommates right now are black.
Are black. Your
Yes.
best friend, too.
Yes.
No. Well, Michael is
Michael is my best friend. He's black and he's gay. I picked this show to come to. Why would I
know.
pick your show?
I know, you're right, and subject yourself to my authority if you're racist. I don't believe that, man.
I never
don't
said she
believe...
was racist, Your
I
Honor.
know, but you're implying it.
I'm quoting her.
All right,
Yeah,
but,
okay,
so
right.
you're implying that she's prejudiced, and I don't get that impression either. Go ahead, ma'am.
When he moved out on September 28th,
At that time, he owed how much?
In rent, he was paid up for rent.
and he didn't move his
But-
stuff out, so it was $304 prorated until the October 28th.
304 because his things were still there. What about the utility bills?
$226.
All right, sir.
I have receipts in August where I paid them $840 for the utilities, rent, and everything.
Let's see it. Let's see all
They
these
would disconnect my internet.
No, sir. I'm not looking through that pile of stuff.
Okay.
That's because you paid everything late.
This is the way they gave me receipts, and Doug
Okay,
would
let's see
say,
it.
That's the way you would ask.
and
Let's
Doug
see.
would say,
Sir, you would give receipts in this manner? That's my
well,
question.
he would look at me and say, "You don't need a receipt, do you, Dan?" I can show you here, Your Honor, where they would send me an email saying,
No. Show me for October. Now, do you have something in
Oh, I
that
wasn't
email
there.
that refers to October?
I wasn't there in October.
But
They
your
they locked
things
me
were,
out.
right?
Your Honor, I told him I would move out on September 30th. The night of my visitation, September 28th, he called me on the phone, told me that I would not be allowed in the apartment. While I was on the phone, he told me he was changing the locks, that
All
my key
right,
wouldn't
sir,
work.
did you do that?
That was not done until September 30th.
I
All
went
right.
over with the
and
police.
yet you're suing for October, saying that he owes you.
Because
And you
as I-
changed the locks on the 30th. What's your defamation for?
All right, she called CPS, she called my ex-wife, told CPS that black men were coming to the parking lot and delivering drugs. My ex-wife used that exact phrase to CPS. CPS used that phrase against me. I said, no, people were not coming in the parking
They were
lot.
white, weren't they?
They weren't
See
of any-
that?
they weren't of
So
any
I
color.
tell you, white folks
There-
sell drugs too.
She promoted it like she did here to my ex-wife, that people were making drug deals in the parking lot with me. That never happened. CPS, here's a document.
Let's see it, please. This is your
States that-
defamation
States that
saying-
CPS found no wrongdoing, no neglect with my daughter and me.
Does
And
this
there was-
say she reported it?
No, this is where
Do you
my,
have any evidence that says she called?
I have some.
she told my
voicemail.
ex-wife.
Do you have evidence of that?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
I have a voicemail that he
Right
says
here.
that he knows I didn't do it.
Danielle and his roommate,
Sir,
Melissa.
did you leave a voicemail saying you know she didn't do it?
No, she didn't do what?
And here's the transcription
What
of
are we
it.
talking about?
Doyle,
That she didn't tell my ex-wife those things?
it's a voicemail.
It's a voicemail that was left on her cell phone.
Go
Your Honor.
ahead. sir.
Hey, Dan, I'd like a signed statement from you guys that called you after that she
That's enough.
Right. A
You
lot of the
blaming me.
things that
Sir,
my
be
ex-wife-
quiet. I just heard you blamed your wife for it. The same one you said wrote you a statement today. You
But
blame her
Melissa
for
told
doing
her
it. Your
the same
claim is
story she told
dismissed,
you.
and so is you all's. You committed an illegal lockout, sir. You can't go and change the locks because the person hasn't paid rent. You can't do it on your own. You cannot. You have to get a judge's order. Have a good day.
I think they're misguided, and I think she doesn't know how to tell the truth.
I always tell the truth, and I think that Judge Mathis does what's right and what's legal.